This has major implications for the Boston Red Sox as Lucas Giolito returned for the first time in over 500 days and was simply electric. I'm here to break down that massive performance and how he is now the completion of this starting rotation for Boston, as well as how that performance could supercharge this Red Sox team going forward. I'll break down all of that on this episode of Red Sox Digest, but first, please do remember to subscribe to the channel if you're a part of the near 90% watching this video not currently subscribed. We do appreciate the love and support, so thank you guys. But now let's get to it and break down a new look for the starting rotation in Boston. Now, the entire conversation, one of the two major conversations, I should say, during the entirety of the offseason, this past offseason for the Boston Red Sox, was really the absolute need for pitching, whether it be in the starting rotation or coming out of the bullpen. One of the biggest bulletins on the board was simply quality arms to be acquired for this Red Sox team. Now, Breslow and the rest of this Red Sox front office and organization have done a pretty damn good job to go out there and acquire those pieces, but one of the pieces, like Lucas Giolito, hadn't been active, hadn't had the ability to go out there and actually pitch in games, as due to injuries, whether it was to the shoulder, the hamstring, or the overall just the arm, he has been sidelined for over 500 days in the regular season. Now, we watched Giolito pitch during spring training briefly, and then he was quickly sidelined by a hamstring, not a tear, but again, just a strain, if you will, of his right hamstring, resulting in putting him on the IL and the sidelining him to start this MLB season. But just yesterday, against the in-division rival in the Toronto Blue Jays, Lucas Giolito made his first appearance, again, in over 500 days in the regular season, and he was electric. Now, through the first 5 2/3 innings, he was damn near perfect. The only problem is he stayed in to finish that 6th inning, where he did give up a 3-run shot as well as a solo shot to Alejandro Kirk. Now, outside of those 2 long balls, in the 3-run shot and the solo shot, which produced 4 runs against Lucas Giolito for this Blue Jays team, he was electric. And someone who doesn't have a blow-by-you fastball that sits between 92 and 94, we saw Giolito really sit back and yank one, and a few actually, to top out at 96, striking out players like Vladimir Guerrero as well as others on this Blue Jays team, collecting 7 in total. Now, it wasn't just the fact that Lucas Giolito went out there and pitched pretty damn well. It's the fact that he did return. He battled through these injuries. He never really got neglected and never felt diminished, in the sense that he didn't feel like he could come back and do it. He was very hungry, it seemed like, to go out there and be on the mound for this Red Sox team. And thank God, in the first inning, the Red Sox were able to go out there and give this young man some run support, as Giolito struggled to walk guys in spring training. It's something that we saw frequently in the lack of really reps he saw in the spring, and he was able to go out there early in the game from the bottom of the first on and attack these hitters, in throwing strikes over and over again, which is great to see, as again, he's not falling into hitters counts. He's ahead in counts a lot of the time, and it resulted in him being able to attack the zone and resulting in a lot of strikeouts, something that really wasn't anticipated from someone in Lucas Giolito. That one, we didn't know if there was going to be a pitch count because of, again, returning from injury for the first time in a regular season game against a very credible team in the Blue Jays, who 1 through 4 have been hitting very well, and outside of that have really fallen off. But again, they still hold a lot of threats, like we saw yesterday, where they ended up beating the Red Sox 7-6 in extras. Now, Giolito should not be pinned with that loss, because he, again, threw 6 innings outside of the 2 blemishes in the long balls from Kirk and Santander. He was pretty damn good. Again, being able to get out in front of hitters, attack the strike zone, not fall behind in hitters' counts. It looked pretty damn good. The fastball, again, someone who doesn't blow a fastball by you with that crazy velocity at that 98s to the 100s, it's nowhere near where Giolito is. But again, we saw him be able to rear back and really put something on it when he absolutely needed it, like that strikeout against Vlad. I believe it was in the bottom of the 3rd inning. It could have been earlier or later than that. Early stages of the game, the first 5 innings of that game, and he was able to sit down Vlad in a high leverage situation where it seemed like the Blue Jays were starting to put things together, really piece together Lucas Giolito, and he was able to battle through it and get out of some substantial innings and substantial moments with not only that mid-90s, low 90s fastball, but the changeup. The changeup was absolutely filth from Giolito, and I really think now, with this starting rotation, now with Giolito in it, and obviously Bello has returned in the last week or so, this is a complete starting 5 rotation for the Boston Red Sox, something that the Red Sox have not had up to this point in the year. Yes, Crochet has been there. Yes, Tanner Houck has been there as a liability, to say the least. We will be breaking down his performance today against the Toronto Blue Jays as they face off against Jose Barrios. That'll be a very, very big measuring stick game for Tanner Houck, and really what we are going to expect to see from him going on, as through this point in the season, he has been shaky to say the absolute least. But outside of that, Walker Buehler and now the newest addition, Lucas Giolito, are rounding out that starting five and really starting five pitching rotation for the Boston Red Sox. And not only does this add more depth to the starting rotation, but also another very quality arm that seems like after this performance, we can expect him to continue to get better and better by the start. Now, Alex Cora went on to give a few quotes on Giolito and really the game overall yesterday. We're going to focus on the quotes specifically on Giolito, as he was the star performer. Despite the loss, despite the overall performance from the from the Red Sox, especially early in this game as they jumped on the Blue Jays and they were able to put up a lot of runs early in that game. They just weren't able to maintain it after Giolito gave up those 4 runs. It seemed like that game was right back to even despite the Red Sox holding that 2-run lead going into the late stages of that game. Alex Cora went on to say this on NESN, quote, "He did an outstanding job. Obviously, he's upset with the way it ended, but like I said before, if we get this version of Lucas, we're going to be in good shape." And that's the end of the quote from Alex Cora, reflecting on Lucas Giolito's first Major League start since October 1st of 2023. And again, I 1,000,000% agree with Alex Cora here. Yes, I would have loved to see the Boston Red Sox not choke a massive lead to an in-division rival in the Toronto Blue Jays. That's without a doubt. I have no words. I can't believe they still lost that game. But the biggest takeaway has to be Giolito. The fact that he has returned. The fact that he looked as good as he did and now is going to be a substantial piece to this starting rotation for the Boston Red Sox. This could mean worlds to not only the Red Sox organization, but the fan base, as now they can get behind someone in Giolito who they know is a fighter, someone who they know is not going to give up despite getting sidelined with injuries, whether it be a hamstring. And it's something that when it happened in spring, we reported on this channel from quotes from Giolito as well as Cora that it wasn't that big of a deal. He ended up missing nearly 30 games in the regular season, and I'm going to say it was worth it because he looked really good last night. He looked fresh. He looked ready for the moment. And again, it just goes back to how strong and how really willful someone like Lucas Giolito is. As again, he's a fighter. He was able to put all the injuries behind him. Someone who, again, the injury thing is not something new to Lucas Giolito. He had battled, again, coming right out of high school. He had Tommy John. He got through the Tommy John. He went on to be very good in Chicago. Again, picking up a lot of innings, being sidelined to injuries, whether it be the shoulder, whether it be the Tommy John problems in the elbow. Again, the hamstring, COVID, whatever it may have been, Lucas Giolito has always gone through it and come back and attempted to be the best that he can possibly be. And I think that's going to mean a lot for the Boston Red Sox. And to look more into that performance, if you look at the Toronto Blue Jays versus right-handed pitching, and this is as of today, so this is, again, taking into account for what happened yesterday. They are one of the best teams in the entirety of the MLB when it comes to not striking out. Actually, the second best in the entirety of the league, striking out at about 18.5% throughout the entirety of the game. Now, if you look at the averages, the OBP and the WOBA, those numbers are not great as in the sense of averages amongst the entirety of the team. But I tell you, they walk at about a league average about 15th in the last 30 days. And again, for the season, about 20th, which is not great. They do walk they don't walk really at all. But the strikeout numbers are significant. And for Giolito to be able to enter this game or start this game as, again, the first time in over 500 days and accept the challenge, go out there and know he has to face players like Bo Bichette, players like Vlad Guerrero Jr., who's one of the best players in all of baseball. And statistically, he might not have the wow you numbers as of now. But look back in 2 months and look at the numbers Vladdy is putting up, as well as players like Anthony Santander, who did get him once later in that game for a 3-run shot, absolutely. But he still went out there and he battled through those first 5 innings where he was simply phenomenal, but not giving up any runs through those first 5. And again, that 6th inning is really the biggest blemish for Giolito, and that's unfortunate that it did end the way it did, ending up in a loss in 10 innings. but you have to take the good where you get it. And Lucas Giolito was very, very good yesterday and gave the Red Sox Nation a lot to be positive about going forward, and expecting him to be good in the following starts that we are going to see him in as this season continues. As we all know, it's a 162-game season. We're going to see him a lot this season because, well, people are going to go down with injury. People are going to have days off, and Lucas Giolito is always going to be ready to get on the bump and play for this Red Sox team. I think it's something to be very excited about. It's going to have major implications not only on this Red Sox team as a whole, but specifically the starting rotation, adding a bit of depth before Pablo Sandoval is able to return. As if you guys remember, the Red Sox picked up the southpaw pitcher from the Los Angeles Angels, from in this past offseason. So again, another quality arm on the way for the Red Sox, but right now Lucas Giolito is simply getting the job done for the Red Sox in his first start. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know down below what you guys thought about Lucas Giolito's first start, and I'll see you guys on the next one.